being able to innovate?
I think technology is an overblown issue. In a lot of institutions, they think that technology will improve teaching, but we have to remember technology is only an enabler, and it just enhance your teaching, but it's certainly not going to take over and make you a good teacher. So a good teacher make use of technology to enhance his teaching, but he will never let technology take over and say, this is the way I'm going to do, and technology is going to carry forward my teaching. I don't think that's possible.
So how important is it for a good teacher to be dependable? Are you being dependent on by your students, or do you have a line between being dependable by your students and not being dependable? Do you put that line down? Do you put your foot down and say, okay, you can depend me on this, but these other areas you have to find ways or solve it on your own?
I think in college level, we always, even in school level, we should always teach our students to be independent and self-reliance and depending on themselves to search and to study on their own. And every opportunity that we have, we try to instill this lesson that they must be independent and not be dependent on the lecturer.
All right. You mentioned about continuing to learn. What areas do you look at? Do you look at only yourself, or do you or the subject matter, or do you look at what do you look at? I mean, ability to deliver lessons better, or what other areas do you look at? When you mentioned just
I think it's both pedagogical, meaning that the delivery, as well as in the subject matter. I mean, there's no end to understanding the subject matter, and it's a continuous process of reading and finding out more, and at the same time, the delivery, how best to deliver it so that the students can understand. So it's both the subject matter as well as how to deliver the subject in such a way that it can be understood by the student.
Okay. Do you find it, is it a good idea for teachers to be strict or firm with the students? Or, is there a line that you draw between being strict and being, as you mentioned, dependable?
Yep, I think there must be a certain line being drawn between a student and a lecturer, about which you would not allow the student to cross over. I think a lecturer can be friendly, but yet strict. And he has to, I think the idea is to instill discipline to students, and it's not strict just for strictness sake, but strict because you want to instill certain amount of discipline in the students. For example, if they cheat, they'll be severely punished, and that's a lesson you want to bring across to the student.
So is it important to show care to your students?
Obviously, I think the students can detect whether you are concerned for them. I think strictness has nothing to do with showing care or not. I think a strict lecturer can show care, and students.
At the same time.
Yes. It is possible, and students very easily detect whether you care for them or not.
All right. Another area that often lecturers or teachers tell me is that you have to be very good at the way that you communicate ideas or whatever that you want to, your subject matter to your students. It is very important to have that good communication skill. How do you find that? What's your opinion on that?
Yes, communication skill means if you mean communicating your teaching lessons to them, I think that's the very important part of your ability to deliver and as a teacher. But I think the other part is more also in the area of engaging students. I think that's a more difficult area where you want to engage the students, and getting their attention, getting them involved, And that's also a skill that a lecturer will need, a teacher will need to develop.
So how do you get them engaged? What techniques do you use to get them engaged? Especially in maths.
One of the ways I do is of course to get them to think together to solve a problem, and also getting them to come out to solve a problem on the board, and then helping them through, and I think assurance are given to them that there's no such thing as not a stupid student in the class. Everybody can contribute. If they are wrong, there's nothing bad about it. It's an opportunity for them to learn, and if I point out mistake from them, for them it is opportunity for them to learn where they have made a mistake, and so it's absolutely okay to make mistake. So assurances like this hopefully will help them to open up and learn together with me, and in this way I try to engage them in the learning process, that they should not be fearful and not be afraid to ask questions, and not afraid to come up to do the problems in front of everybody, and learning together. Yeah.
So you maintain the fact that maintain this idea that it is important to build a relationship with your students.
Yeah.
So how important is that in having this relationship, and where do you find that sometimes the students take advantage of that particular situation, if there is any? How do you make sure that they don't take advantage of that relationship that you have with your students?
I think if you are very clear in your the standards that you want to maintain in the class, and as I said, that you also try to draw a line, between the student and you, about which would not allow them to cross over. I think if we are very clear about this, it is
has it happened before? Sorry.
About what?
Anyone crossing over, and how do you manage that? Do you have that kind of an example or a situation where that happened?
I mean, occurs all the time in the class where students try to put you at the same level as them. They crack jokes that they themselves could only understand, and but if you know where you are not offended or threatened by what they are doing, and you just give a smile and just carry on, and soon they will know what level they will try to approach you on. I think maintaining consistency is very important. Students will realize that there's a certain level they will approach you, and there's a certain level they will not approach you on it.
So then, do you set high expectations for your students? Do you set your expectations early before the lessons, or do you don't have any expectations? Is it? Do you think that is a good trait that a teacher should have, setting expectations?
I mean, it's difficult to say expectation. I mean, I would set my expectation in the sense that early in the class, the first class, I would tell them what is expected of them, all right? And how can they then achieve that expectation? Of course, I want everybody to pass. And I would mention to them how best can they pass the course, and give them advice on how best they can do it. And that's about all that I would expect, and the rest is up to them. All right. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that you like to add, or probably with reference to the topic, what makes a good teacher?
No, I think I've said all that I need to say.
Okay. All right. I think that's all. All right.
Is all?
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.
20 minutes.
Okay.
I'll just
20
look up
minutes.
something.